Aloha, namaste. I have your new moon forecast for our new moon coming up tomorrow in the early hours. It's going to be at 8 a.m. Pacific time, Wednesday, November 7th. And this is also the new moon that brings in Diwali, which is the festival of lights in India. It's a sign that the light has won over the darkness. So we see in the different myths, there's several different myths involved with Diwali, and the overriding theme is that good trumps evil, or light trumps dark. So this is actually the end of the year, right? This is that time when everything's going to the darkest night of the year, the darkest day of the year. So this last segment of time is kind of our final period where we get to kind of go down deep and do that inner communion, that inner prayer, and really connect with what our heart desires and how we're going to move forward when the sun starts to climb back up again. This new moon is in Sidereal Libra. We're going to see a heavy focus on themes of relationship, beauty, connectivity, harmony, really trying to make ourselves out in the world in a way that feels right to us, in a way where we're compromising, but we're not compromising our core beliefs, where we're able to show up and be beautiful and happy and charming and funny and all those things, but not in a way where we sell ourselves out down the line. And that's kind of always the balancing act that has to take place with Libra. We're always sort of throwing things off balance and then having to find our way back to what balance looks like again. It's rare that balance just stays. Generally, it's a state that's being found rather than a state that's just on all the time. So this is an interesting period of time for that. And it's in the final pada, the final part of Libra, which is leading up into Scorpio. It's called Vishaka, and it is the place in the sky where we grow with time, where over time we see the fruits of our efforts and we get wiser with time. It's ruled by both the fire god Agni and the king of all the gods, Indra. So there's a ferocity, there's an intensity there where we see ourselves really willing to fight for justice, and also growing our roots in a tree and sort of beginning to spread those branches out to protect ourselves and our immediate others, and also society as a whole. There's a protective energy there. So this new moon is a time for us to kind of move forward out in the world in a way that we haven't been this last month, because the moon cycle we were just in was one of Virgo, which is kind of focused on the details and the nitty-gritty, and there's a nervous energy and a need to kind of organize and make everything right. And Venus, even though she's been in her home sign of Libra this whole time, has been retrograde for the past several weeks. So we've been sort of running over old themes in relationships, perhaps having to face old relationships, dealing with how we relate, really looking at how we relate in relationships, just kind of doing this rerun review retrograde cycle where we don't get the juicy forward movement of relationships. We get this sort of revision and review period, which is less fun usually. So Venus is going to start moving forward on November 16th, and we'll start to feel all that forward motion in the social realm. And the biggest thing to remember is that it's more fun to be social and engage with others when you're also taking care of yourself. If you lose that part where you're self-care, then you're only going to be, so much of yourself is going to be available to give to others. And when we compromise too much on our own values and beliefs, we shortchange the interchange in the long run. In the short run we want harmony, but we end up having to deal with it somewhere down the line. So it's always better to kind of hold boundaries up front. And that's a lot of what we work with in the Libra energy, is boundaries and what they look like, and throwing ourselves off balance and then finding that balance again, finding that point, that sweet spot. This new moon also brings us into the release or the goodbye of Mars, who's been in Capricorn, in sidereal Capricorn, since May 3rd. So we've had this sort of epic end of spring, summer, and then into the early fall, where Mars and K2, the south node, were just exploding one area of our life. We saw it on a world stage, we saw it in an environmental stage. I mean, it's just been really one of the most intense summers almost everyone I know has had. We've dealt with life and death and severe circumstances. So it's been fun, but we are all ready for that. So Mars moved out on the 5th and is now in sidereal Aquarius. So we can start taking that fire and that do-it energy and bringing it onto a bigger stage, maybe finding things that we really believe in the social world, and making new systems that work, moving ourselves forward, creating the world we want to live in. So it's great for that. And of course, it depends on where it is in your chart. Everyone's going to have a different house that Aquarius rules, and it's going to really affect that house. And also Mars rules a specific house for you, so that will be part of it as well. I do still have up, actually at this exact moment, I have the Mars and Venus report still floating. I'm working on the Jupiter for all 10 signs, and I've been getting ready for my launch of my yoga program. So there's been a little delay on that. So if you still want to get that Mars-Venus report for the end of the year, you can see where Mars just moved in your chart, and that might give you a little help. So we still have that little bit of karmic energy left with K2 and Capricorn. Whatever it is we need to finish, whatever it is we need to complete, we have until early next year to kind of bring that chapter to a close. And that won't be as explosive as it was when Mars was there. In Scorpio, we have Mercury and Jupiter. So Mercury is at 14 degrees, Jupiter's in the early degrees and 5 degrees. Jupiter moves really slow. It's one of the outer planets, so it's going to be there for a whole year. And I've been talking about this Jupiter and Scorpio for a couple videos now. We're going to be taking that inner dive, really looking at ourselves, finding the ways in which our beliefs and ideals also look at our own shadow, also dive deep into our own fears, also walk and sit in the uncomfortable places we don't really want to. It's a warrior for sure. Scorpio is the warrior that goes inside. It's the emotional warrior. But in the beginning, there can be a little bit of resistance to that, and some blaming and controlling and emotional tantrums and this kind of thing that Scorpio sort of is known for. And that's going to come out more with the Mercury, because Mercury is not in as good of dignity, it's not in as good of intelligence in Scorpio. So we're going to see that for the next, looking to be almost 2 months, our communication is going to be in this sign where we kind of want to control people with our communication, where we're overly emotional, overly passionate, not really being super factual all the time. It can be kind of... It'll definitely throw off that Venus energy I was talking about, because there's a point with Scorpio Mercury where you see this just explosive, passionate word barf that can come out, and really the deep intention is that there's so much fear and we're trying to control the other people. So that can definitely cause some issues in our romantic relationships. Namaste. So I'm super excited to announce that the doors are officially open for Lunar Sadhana. This is a 40-night practice. A sadhana is a daily practice, typically something we show up for every day. In this case, it's a nightly practice. And we're going to do it as a group. It's going to be women and mothers who really need to reinvent self-care for themselves. They really want to show up back on their yoga mat and get back into your body, get back into that deep inner connection space, and allow these ancient teachings of yoga and Ayurveda and astrology to really connect you to where you're at. So the program is going to consist of a 10-minute Chandra Namaskar, moon salutations, and then 20-minute lunar practice where we do some, deep twists, inversions, some things that we need to take care of in our body, and then also some really deep holds and yin postures to drift us off into the sleepiness of a good night's rest. There's a 10-minute meditation that you can download as soon as you sign up for the program. There's a support group on Facebook, so we're going to be holding each other up, lifting each other up, sharing our trials, our tribulations, and our wins with one another. And there's going to be these video transmissions where I offer my own path, which has been deeply embedded with the mythology of India, and allow us to kind of use these stories and these emanations, these different faces of Source, to dive into a portal within ourselves. I'm going to mostly use mythology that surrounds the mother goddess, the image of the goddess as a mother, and really help connect us to our deepest core roots as women and as mothers, and also allow us to tune into the time, the astrological time of year, as well as the specific alignments that we're dealing with in this particular year in 2018. So this is a really exciting program. I'm so happy to be able to share my teachings, which I've been doing for so long, in person, bringing it online, especially so that those people who can't make it to class can still drop in really deep. So this program is open for enrollment. We're going to start November 12th as our first day collectively that we all do the practice, and we're going to end on the winter solstice, where we'll have our final video ceremony where we dive in really deep. This is going to be very exciting. If you sign up now, you also are open and eligible to join us in the next run in the new year. This is sort of my first launch, so it's being launched to a smaller audience, and I really want to offer appreciation to those who join me on this first step and allow them to carry it forward and maybe keep their practice going into this new year. So this time of year is deep, it's potent, there's a lot we can really achieve from dropping into the end of the year and really diving into those nooks and crannies of ourself that maybe when we're out in the sunshine and out in the brightness of day and out in that time of year that's summery, we're not as likely to really connect with. So I'm excited, and I hope you are too. If you are not a woman and you want to share this with a woman in your life, please do. If you are not going to be able to join us this round, please continue to share and comment and like. You can still sign up for the wait list and receive some great free teachings. But the doors are now open, and they will be until November 14th or 15th. I'm going to see how enrollments are going, and we are going to start this journey. So thank you so much, and you can sign up on the link below. See you on your mat.